My name's Ruth Duran. I currently live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm a life coach. I help immigrant business women stop working harder than they need to. Before Anchored, I bypassed the feeling lines in the tool that we're taught, the model. I bypassed that. So I would either adopt a thought or adopt actions and bypass the feeling. And I thought I was feeling my emotions until Anchored. I started really feeling my emotions and going into my body. And so what I started to realize is as I was doing the work in Anchored and going into my body, the actions that I wanted to take flowed so much easier. The way that Anchored taught the concepts that I already intellectually knew brought it to a different understanding that I was able to take the actions, I was able to practice the work that you were teaching and be able to create the results that I was looking for. So going from in my head into my body and then taking those actions. So it was an amazing experience just by who I became, my relationship with myself through Anchored. Before Anchored, I was very fearful to be in relationships. And so after Anchored, because my relationship with myself was so much healthier, I was able to show up in my relationships differently and create my own safety. But after Anchored, realizing how I was showing up codependently and how I was expecting other people to show up a certain way so that I can feel a certain way. And now when I'm in my relationships, I allow them to just be them. One of the biggest transformation during Anchored was after we did a breath work session, and I realized I didn't want a new relationship, like I didn't want to leave my marriage, but I wanted a different relationship in my marriage. And who did I need to become to be that person in this different relationship? And so my husband and our relationship is transformed. It's so much more healthier. So we're interdependent in a different way than the codependency. And so my relationship with my children's just up-leveled to a different level, because every time I do this work, we just get to be more loving, more connected, and I just love them so much more. I love who they are, and I just love this experience that I have with them. During Anchored, my mother-in-law moved in, and most of the Anchored program, I was working on my relationship with my mother-in-law, and I can say genuinely, I love who she is. I accept who she is for who she is, and so we have a very different dynamic. So Anchored brought just a very different relationship dynamic, who I was and how I interacted with people. I love the Anchored community. I'm also now currently in the alumni community, and I love both communities because it's a very close-knit group of people and they support each other. It's very, very safe. I felt very safe from the very beginning to be as vulnerable as I needed to be, as very safe and supported to take what I needed to take from the community and from the whole experience and show up as my highest self. And I have since ran into other people who we're friends now because of the community. It's an investment in your future self. The healthier you are, the healthier you are for your future self, and also the healthier you are for everybody around you. And so I did the work in Anchored, but everybody in definitely my household is benefiting from the benefits from Anchored. It's an investment that for me, I am making money, and I can directly say I'm making that money because I wasn't Anchored, because then I'm taking the action that I've always wanted to take. I feel an emotion like fear or shame. I have the tools and the resources to process that emotion, to sit with that emotion, to build a relationship with that emotion so that I can take action. And the action that I'm taking is then putting value out into the world, which then creates value back. It's an investment and it's paid off for me. I've already made more than I invested in Anchored. Come get the support, come get Victoria's support, come get coached by Victoria and take your work to the next level. Anchored is an asset for me as a coach. The way that Victoria and Anchored puts it together, it makes you see it in a very loving and compassionate way that you can then do something about it. Because like Victoria said, when you're buffering with some of these things that you're not even aware that you're buffering with, you're keeping yourself from creating the result that you want. And when you stop buffering with other people and not feeling emotions and manuals, then you can show up and take the action that you want to take from a cleaner place.